everybody. Welcome to Winning Runs. I'm Charlotte Cunningham, and of course, as you know, this guy standing next to me is kind of a celeb, so I'm in celebrity awe here. This is Troy Crumrine. We invited him on to come. We're standing here in Crossroads Arena in Cloverdale, Indiana. Steve Jackson was very nice enough to let us use his arena, so we sure appreciate that. Troy has, well, what haven't you won, Troy? I mean, you know, he's just an icon for the barrel racing. He's well over $3 million mark right now running barrels. He's won 45 saddles, 15 trailers, 35 saddles, excuse me, 15 trailers, 45 buckles. He is in the #1 leading for the 10-year stats. I mean, you know, what else can I say about Troy? You know, when I was sitting here thinking about the introduction, I was thinking, now what am I going to say about Troy and all of his winnings? And basically, I just asked him, well, what hasn't he won? He's won Fort Smith, he's won Oklahoma City, he's won the Speed Horse. I mean, he gives clinics now and does lessons, rides a few outside horses, rides mostly outside horses. And his wife and Renee reside in Ohio with their daughter Madison and Trey. And he's come to show us basically everything that makes him a champion. His basics, his foundation, groundwork, and his mental toughness. And Troy, we're just really honored to have you here. I know I am very excited to see what he has to say today, because I know I've run against him several times and usually he hands me my rear. So Troy, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you very much.
Well, thanks for having me.
Today, Troy is going to talk with us about whatever his training that makes him a champion. He's going to talk about his basics, foundation work, his bits. I mean, you're going to learn everything you need to know so we can keep up with you. I'm not going to say outrun you, Troy. I'm going to say keep up with you. So Troy was telling me earlier that mainly at a lot of his clinics, he does goes back to a lot of basics, because you were telling me a lot of horses that you use that are in your clinics have either not got the basics or it's come out of them. So he's going to show us some foundation work and just basics on what he does with his horses. So I'll just let you get started.
Okay. I'm just going to show you guys a few basic tips. Just going to work on some circles and picking the shoulder up, and show you a few tips on quickness and how to quicken your horse up a little bit. And just make sure I like to make sure when I start working my circles, keep just the basic, just keep their nose up. Anywhere I want to pick up, the horse should pick up off that inside rein and move with that inside rein. And anytime I want to move him in, move him out, this is just the basic. Trying to keep the horse collected, keeping the nose, pick the inside rein up. And then I like to make good stops. Make sure, one thing that's really important to me is a stop. I like a horse with a good stop. I don't just say whoa and throw him back the reins. I like to make sure when I stop him, I keep the pressure on, making him back off that. I don't want him running through my hand. So I always, when I stop him, I always keep enough pressure on him to make him back up a couple steps. I know there's a lot of people at the clinics that they're not real big on stops, and I'm a real big believer in stops. I like to make one really get in the ground and back off of my hands. I never want him pushing on me or pulling through me. So here again, just going back here to the circles, you see I really got that horse's nose to the inside. I'm just picking it up, using my inside foot a little bit, moving it in and out. Just the basics. I also like to, she's anticipating my stopper a little bit. I'm gonna make her go. I also reverse arc them too. A lot of people just constantly keep them cocked all the time, and they never let them be in the middle and be straight. So I like to take them and make them straighten up a little bit and keep them a little stiffer, and use my outside leg a little bit too. And then I kind of, once they're a little bit straighter, I like to buckle them down and just kind of keep them off guard a little bit. She likes to break down there a little bit. I want to keep her back in. And just do different little things, different little drills, kind of work on that first step and make sure that them horses are staying collected. Whoa. There was a pretty good stop, and we'll make her back off of it. Give her a little bro here. I always like them to relax. If you got a hot horse and a kind of fidgety horse that don't want to relax, that's just a form, to me, of rate. You want a horse to be able to rate and relax and be able to stand there. If you got a hot horse and a hyper horse, you can't teach him anything. So it's very important for me to have a horse that will relax when you need him to relax. Just seems like it's a lot harder to teach him anything if you got a hot, crazy horse. And you know, on my turnarounds and stuff, you know, I'm a real big believer. I don't care if you got a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, or an open horse. When I first start out, I just start out at a walk, and I like to teach a horse to move forward. I always want him moving forward. In behind my turns and stuff, even if you don't have the best turn in the world, if your horse is moving forward, it seems like you'll clock a lot better because you're always keeping your forward progress going. So I always teach my horses to keep moving forward. And in my quickness, when I turn them around, I want to make sure I push them out of it. I'll come in there and ask for a quick turn, get the feet work right, and I want them to move on out of it. You know, and a lot of times when I'm first teaching a horse this, I won't ask him to turn real tight. I just want that first step, just a quick little step, and then I make him come out of it. And then I get another quick step, and I make him come out of it. And then before you know it, when you got a finished product, you can just sit here and bring him right on around. So, you know, and I always start off walking when I'm doing this. I do it both ways. And, you know, I'm not afraid to pull one around by its nose a little bit more if I need to. If I think it's wanting to be a little bit stiff, I'll reach down here and get me a good handful, and I'll really bend it up. If I got a horse that just naturally wants to be a little stiff, I'm going to really bend, don't even make him bend. And if I got a horse that wants to be a little bit bendy, I'm not going to let him bend through his body. I'm going to make him stay a little bit stiffer here and kind of make him pivot off his butt. So just kind of knowing your horse, if you got a horse that wants to be kind of bendy or be stiff. And this mare here, she stays pretty much in between. I can stiffen her up or bend her, and that's what you want. You want to be able to do anything you want. If you want to turn stiff or if you want to bend their nose, that horse should do. If you want to counter arc and make this horse bend its nose to the outside and turn, but you always want to try to keep it moving forward. She kind of wanted to hop there just a little bit, not be real perfect. I just kind of slow her down a little bit and not ask her to turn quite as tight, and then just keep buckling her down. She's just kind of what she's wanting to do there is just kind of bump herself there a little bit and hop just a little bit. So you can just push them in and out. And a lot of them drills, when you start speeding up to a trot or a lope, I'm just going to go right to a lope here. This applies right on into a lope. When I'm working on quickness, I want to make sure my horse is staying collected. I'm going to ask for a little quick step here, not going to be real tight, just a quick one. I'm going to bump her and make her go out of it. I'm going to come back. She wants to be a little lazy. I'm going to hit her, tap her, and make her kind of pick up a little bit.